I don't agree always what he posts, but his action is his action, and I tell him that. I know I will be hit with criticism to talking about cyberbullying, but it will not stop me.
Melania Trump has finally admitted what many have long suspected. For years, people have wondered about her true feelings and the reality of her life with former President Donald Trump. Now, at 54, she's ready to speak out and confirm what we've all been guessing. What unexpected truths will she reveal about her time in the White House? Let us uncover the real story behind Melania's life and what she's been holding back. Growing up in Slovenia's communist era. Melania Trump was born as Melania Knaus on April 26, 1970, in what is now known as Slovenia. Her early life was quite plain compared to the glitzy world she would later be a part of. Her dad, Viktor Knavs, started off driving folks around before he got into selling car parts. His connections with the Communist Party probably helped the family out in some ways. Her mom, Amalia, was a pattern maker at a company that made kids' clothes called Jutranjka, right in their hometown of Sevnica. They lived in a government-owned apartment, which was typical in communist countries back then. But their place was a bit nicer, with colorful walls that made it stand out from the usual bland ones. Even though the government was all about atheism, Melania and her older sister Inez were quietly baptized as Catholics. This kind of personal faith was pretty common in Yugoslavia back then, showing that what the government wanted and what people felt could be two different things. They also had an older half-brother from her dad's previous relationship, but Melania never met him. From when she was little, Melania was around the fashion scene. Sevnica, her hometown, was known for its textile work, and being a factory worker's daughter, she got to be in kids' fashion shows quite a bit. These early experiences probably sparked her interest in modeling. She picked up a knack for fashion by watching her mom, and even started making and altering her own outfits. This early dive into making clothes gave her a good grasp of how clothes are put together, which came in handy later when she started modeling. Melania took her studies seriously from the start, did well in school, and even got to be the school treasurer. When she was a teenager, her family moved into a bigger, two-story house in Sevnica, improving how they lived. Growing up under a communist regime, Melania was really taken with American culture, especially during Ronald Reagan's time as president. She was interested in the bigger world, and the US in particular. When CNN International started broadcasting in 1985, her family got to watch American news, and that made her even more interested in the West. At 15, she made a big move to Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, to go to a high school that specialized in design and photography. She initially commuted from Sevnica, but eventually moved to Ljubljana with her sister Inez, which helped her get closer to her dreams in fashion. After finishing high school at 19, she started studying design at a university. But it wasn't long before her modeling career took the front seat. There's been some talk about her college days, especially during her husband's campaign for president. Melania claimed to have finished a degree in architecture from a Slovenian university, but journalists have had a hard time finding records to back that up, or any proof that she studied more than a year. Melania's path from altering clothes in a state apartment to being featured on magazine covers in the fashion world was full of ups and downs. What kind of challenges did this ambitious Slovenian face in the tough world of modeling? Let's dig into that. She started modeling at the age of 5, but it wasn't until she was 16 that people really started noticing her talent. A Slovenian fashion photographer named Stane Jerko spotted her at a school fashion show, and that's when her professional modeling career began. Originally, Melania wanted to be a fashion designer, and this early love for design influenced her modeling and later business ventures. Her first major opportunity came when she won a contest with the Italian studio Saita, which even included a movie role offer. However, she turned it down after a producer made inappropriate advances. As she kept at her career, Melania began going by Melania Knaus and looked for chances outside Slovenia. She traveled around Europe to seek out modeling gigs and build her portfolio. In 1992, she got a boost by coming in second in the Jana magazine Look of the Year contest, which led to international modeling contracts and opened new doors for her. Melania signed with RVR Reclaim in Milan, but that collaboration was short-lived, lasting just a few months. Over the next few years, she continued to travel around Europe for different modeling jobs. One interesting job in 1993 had her playing the role of the first female president of the United States, which is quite ironic considering she would become the First Lady later on. Melania's growing modeling career soon led her far from home, taking her to Paris, where her life started to change. From Europe to New York's fashion scene. By the time she was in her early 20s, Melania had made enough strides in her modeling career to move to Paris. She lived there with a roommate named Victoria Salad and fully immersed herself in the fashion scene of Europe. It was a crucial turning point in her career in 1995 when she met Paolo Zampoli, a co-owner of Metropolitan Models based in Milan. Zampoli, who also had connections with Donald Trump, was quite impressed with Melania's charm and skills. He saw great potential in her and urged her to consider moving to the United States, even offering to represent her there. This meeting was significant, reshaping her career trajectory and ultimately her life. In 1996, when she was 26 years old, Melania made a big move to Manhattan. Zampoli assisted in this transition, setting her up in an apartment she shared with photographer Matthew Atanian in the Zeckendorf Towers at Union Square. The arrangement was such that her rent was deducted from her earnings at Zampoli's agency, a common practice for new models at the time. Melania was more disciplined than many of her peers in the modeling industry. She was very careful with her diet and stayed away from the nightlife. Her initial weeks in the US were difficult due to visa restrictions that prevented her from working. However, she managed to take part in 10 modeling assignments, earning about $20,000. She eventually obtained an H-1B visa, which allowed her to work legally, although there were some concerns about the legality of her early modeling gigs in the US. Melania's significant break in the industry came with a Camel cigarette advertisement, shot by the famous photographer Ellen von Unwerth. The ad gained major visibility, featured on a billboard in Times Square and in Rolling Stone magazine. This exposure was a big boost to her career. The opportunity came about because of a regulation requiring cigarette ad models to be over 25, which limited opportunities for younger models but worked in Melania's favor. As her career progressed, she moved to a more upscale apartment near Park Avenue, indicative of her rising success. Melania's experience showed she was capable of handling the spotlight and adept at managing media attention, qualities that would later be crucial in her roles as a prominent businessman's wife and eventually as the First Lady of the United States. At that time, she had no idea that her modeling career would eventually lead her all the way to the White House. But what were the obstacles she faced in becoming a U.S. citizen and marrying the 45th president? Melania has often stated that becoming a U.S. citizen is one of the greatest honors one can achieve, reflecting her deep appreciation for her new homeland. Her path to American citizenship was closely tied to her personal and professional life in the States. She started the process in 2001 by obtaining a green card. This card allowed her to live and work in the U.S. permanently. However, the way she obtained the EB-1 visa, sometimes referred to as the Einstein visa for individuals with extraordinary abilities, has been questioned. Some critics argue that her achievements as a model might not typically meet the high standards usually required for this type of visa. Despite the controversies, Melania continued to build her life in the U.S. A pivotal moment came in 2006 when she not only became a U.S. citizen, but also gave birth to her son, Barron Trump. Interestingly, this was the same year Donald Trump seriously started to consider a run for president. The timing of her citizenship was fortuitous, ensuring that her immigration status would not complicate her husband's political aspirations. An interesting aspect of Melania's story is how her citizenship enabled her to sponsor her parents, Victor and Amalia Canavs, to come to the U.S. This process, known as chain migration, was something her husband strongly criticized during his presidency. Yet, Melania's parents benefited from it and became U.S. citizens in 2018, during Trump's term. As Melania settled into New York and found success, An unexpected meeting set her on a path that would connect her with a powerful figure. An immigrant's path to the White House. Melania stands out among first ladies as the second foreign-born woman to hold the role, after Louisa Adams, and the first naturalized citizen first lady. Her story is a powerful example of the American dream, an immigrant who made it big in the U.S. and attained a significant public role. However, her situation also presents a contrast to her husband's stringent immigration policies, highlighting the complex narratives often associated with immigration. Maintaining her Slovenian citizenship along with her U.S. citizenship, Melania, like many immigrants, balances a connection to her birth country while embracing her life in her new country. Melania often chatted about how she moved to the U.S. and the legal steps she followed to become a citizen. Depending on who you ask, her story has been used to both compliment and critique the U.S. immigration system. As the First Lady, Melania brought a unique perspective to the White House because of her background as an immigrant. She had a chance to connect different cultures and share her personal experiences with immigration at the highest level of government. However, people often debated how much she really used this perspective in her role. Melania first met Donald Trump at a party in New York in September 1998. They were introduced by Paolo Zampoli, a mutual friend, even though Trump was there with someone else. Despite this, Trump was interested in Melania and asked for her phone number. She confidently refused and asked for his number instead. Impressed by her boldness, Trump gave her several of his personal numbers. They went on their first date a week later, and Melania played it cool to keep Trump interested. She noticed he had some qualities that reminded her of her father, which might have made her feel more at ease with him. They had some ups and downs early on. They briefly split up when Melania saw Trump's ex, Kara Young, leaving his building, but they were back together within a week. Being with Trump opened up new opportunities and connections for Melania. His fame helped her career, and she found him to be more respectful than other men she had met in the modeling industry. Their relationship became public in 1999 when they appeared on Howard Stern's show, answering bold questions. This brought them a lot more attention from the media. As their relationship developed, Trump often brought Melania to business meetings to show her off, but he kept her out of the actual business dealings because of problems he had with his first wife. In October 1999, Trump announced he was running for the Reform Party presidential nomination. Melania supported him, seeing herself in a traditional First Lady role similar to Betty Ford or Jackie Kennedy. The media was very interested in the idea of a model becoming the First Lady. Their relationship hit a big bump in January 2000 when they broke up, but the details were unclear. They stayed in touch and got back together a few months later. In 2001, Melania got her green card, making her status in the U.S. more secure. The next year, she moved in with Trump at Trump Tower. Trump proposed to Melania on her birthday in 2004 as they were on their way to the Met Gala. He later said that her not pressuring him to marry made him more ready to commit, and he credited her for his recent successes. Melania meshed well with Trump, supporting him quietly but confidently. For their wedding, she went to Paris with fashion leaders Anna Wintour and André Leon to choose a dress designed by John Galliano. She appeared on the cover of Vogue in this dress, stirring excitement before their wedding. They married on January 22, 2005, at the Bethesda by the Sea Church in Palm Beach, Florida. They had a big reception at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, organized by Melania and event planner Preston Bailey. Many famous people, sports stars, media bosses, and TV celebrities came. Melania's sister, Inez, was her only bridesmaid. Their marriage marked the start of a new life together, with Melania stepping into a world that would bring both everyday moments and significant changes. Motherhood in the spotlight. After getting married, the Trumps split their time between three homes: Trump Tower in New York, Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey, and Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Melania had a private spa built at the top of Trump Tower just for herself. They didn't spend a lot of time together directly, preferring to live close but separately. Trump liked this setup because he didn't want to deal with relationship stuff when he came home. Melania was okay with this, taking care of Trump's needs without seeing herself as someone who was just after his money. At events related to Trump's properties, Melania would often show up briefly before going back to their private living space. She didn't push Trump to learn her native language and described herself as not a nagging wife. The news of Melania's pregnancy quickly made headlines, leading to her second Vogue cover. In the photo shoot, she boldly posed pregnant in a bikini and open coat, blending her past as a model with her new role as an expectant mother. During her pregnancy, Melania focused on her family. She spent a lot of time with her sister, who moved to New York to be closer to her, and her parents visited often, providing strong support as she prepared to become a mother. This time helped her reconnect with her cultural roots as she began this new chapter in her life. Melania took an active role in setting up a nursery in Trump Tower, showing her dedication to being a hands-on parent from the start. One special moment during her pregnancy was her baby shower, which took place at the famous FAO Schwarz toy store. Showing a hint of the charitable work she would do as First Lady, Melania made sure that all the toys and presents from the shower were given to a children's hospital. This act highlighted her commitment to using her role for good, reflecting a deep sense of responsibility to help others. On March 20th, 2006, Melania and Donald Trump welcomed their son, Baron William Trump, into the world. They picked his name together, with Donald choosing Baron and Melania selecting William for his middle name. The choice of Baron was particularly meaningful, as Donald had once used it as a fake name when pretending to be his own PR person. After Baron's birth, Melania shifted her focus significantly towards her family. She dialed back on many of the public engagements she used to attend with Donald, showing her dedication to being actively involved in her son's upbringing and ensuring he had a stable and loving home, despite their very public lives. Her parenting style was notably different from many in her social circle. She used nannies very sparingly. Preferring to take care of Baron herself during his early years, Melania's hands-on parenting approach really set her apart and demonstrated her commitment to her son's early development. This fit well with Donald's expectations, as he had made it clear he wasn't interested in the day-to-day tasks of parenting. Melania was fine with this, openly stating that she didn't want him involved in changing diapers or bedtime routines. This arrangement worked well, allowing Melania to take the lead in caring for Baron. As Baron grew, Melania's focus on motherhood meant she was less visible publicly. This shift seemed to affect her relationship with Donald, who was rumored to have been seeing other women during this period, although Melania appeared unaware of these women, who later claimed to have had affairs with him. Melania also took on the role of stepmother to Donald's children from his previous marriages: Donald Jr., Eric, Ivanka from his marriage to Ivana Trump, and Tiffany from his marriage to Marla Maples. She developed a particularly close bond with Tiffany, who was only 6 when Melania started dating Donald. She made considerable efforts to make sure Tiffany felt included and valued among her step-siblings, showcasing her commitment to creating a cohesive blended family. Moreover, Melania encouraged a multicultural upbringing for Baron, teaching him both English and Slovenian, which is her native language. Her personal experiences as a mother heavily influenced her agenda as First Lady, where she prominently featured child welfare initiatives such as her Be Best campaign. Melania's deep commitment to her family was even visible during her time in the White House, as she chose to delay their move to Washington, D.C. to allow Baron to finish his school year in New York, ensuring his education and routine were uninterrupted. Is Melania's confession a genuine glimpse into her life, or is it just another calculated move by the Trumps to control the narrative? What do you think? Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.